Today's daf yomi is Sanhedrin daf ches, Sanhedrin 8, and we're going to dedicate our daf yomi today for Yeshua for Am Yisrael and the Seis Tzara, Hatzalah for the Shuyim, and the Shmira for the Chayalim. So the Gemara tells us on the bottom, the Gemara is discussing the pasuk that says, Lo sakir panim b'mishpat. When Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Jewish people how he set up a system of judges, this time he doesn't give credit to Yisrael. When Torah tells a narrative in Yisrael, gives the credit to Yisrael. Here Moshe Rabbeinu just says he set it up, and he says pick judges, don't show favoritism. Kakaton kagadol tishmaun. Hear them like small, like young and old. Don't be afraid before any man. Because judgment is for God. And the difficult thing for you, bring to me, and I'll give you the answer. So 3 lines from the bottom on 7b, the Gemara is going to analyze this first. What does it mean? Sakiru panim mishpat. Rabbi Yehuda says it means sakirehu, meaning to say, don't favor your friend. Rabbi Eliezer Omer sinachrehu, don't criticize, don't be unfair to a person you don't like. Now the Gemara has a story. Rav had basically an Airbnb we used to stay, or maybe the guy wasn't charging him rent. Anyway, this guy came to Rav and he had a litigation matter. This guy says to Rav, hey, weren't you my guest? Didn't I host you on Shabbos? I hosted you for a beautiful Shabbos. Amar in. Rav says, yeah, I was your judge. I was your guest. Amar Dina Isli. He says, well, actually, I have a litigation and I want to go to you. Amar Rav says, still no Dina. Rav says, on top of 8a, he says, I'm not allowed to be your judge. Amar Rav or Rav Kahana. So Rav says to Rav Kahana, Puk Dayane. You be the judge. You be the judge. I can't do it. Rav Kahana saw that this person was actually being very arrogant in this manner with Rav Kahana because he thought he had protectia. What is that noise? They're not do construction today. The vacuum? So Amar Way, so Rav Kahana says to this person, Tzaita. If you're going to listen to me properly, fine. Otherwise, I'm going to take away your protection and I'll excommunicate you, and Rav won't be able to protect you there. Meaning to say, this is what happens sometimes when there is a new rabbi comes in, people like the old rabbi, they don't want to give the new rabbi kavod. That's like Rav Kahana here. He's like, you better listen to me. Kakatan kakadol tishmeun, like young and like old, you shall listen. Amar Reish Lakish, she'achavelach alechadin. Well, it doesn't mean young and old here. It says Reish Lakish means small and great. Chavev alechadin shal pruta kedin shal mea mana. It should be as precious to you a matter that's as small as a pruta, the smallest denomination of a currency, like the law of 100 mana, which is like mana is 100, so 100 times 100. What does this mean? If it is to make sure you get the right ruling, pshita, of course you have to get it. Elak dume. So it means you can't even put the case that's worth $1 million before the case that's worth $1. You have to treat them in order. Now I to be afraid before any man because the judgment is for God. It's not enough that the judges have to take. It's not enough. It's not enough that the wicked ones take from this person money and they give it to this person improperly. Not only that, but they're harassing me that I have to go out of my way and return the money to its original owner. Meaning God will make sure the guy gets his money back, but it's a pain. And then Moshe says, in the most difficult matters, you bring to me and I'll give you the answer. For this matter, Moses was punished, as it states, Now, when the daughters of Safchad came and they said, we want to inherit because our father had no sons, it said Moshe had to bring their matter before God. He didn't know the answer on his own. And that's because he said, the difficult matters bring to me. So therefore, because he demonstrated arrogance, says Rashi, he should have said, whatever is difficult, bring to me and I'll bring it before God. But because he said he'll give you the answer, he was exposed that there was a question which he didn't know the answer to. What are you talking about? Moshe didn't say, Moshe didn't say, I'll give you the answer. Ushmativ. He says, I'll get the answer. If I know the answer, I'll give it. And if not, I'll go and get it from God. There's nothing wrong with what he said, says from Nachum Bar Yitzchak. So what's the reason why Moshe didn't know the answer? Because it states it in Bryce, Ru'uya Parshas Nachos, Shatikosef Hayidei Moshe Rabbeinu. Really, this passage of Tzlafchad should have been written by Moshe Rabbeinu, but the daughters of Tzlafchad merited that it was written through them. And Ru'uya is a Parshas Makoshe Shatikosef Hayidei Moshe Rabbeinu, and also the passage of the Makoshesh, that's where the person was put to death for gathering the wood on Shabbos, that also should have been written by Moshe. But the Makoshesh was found guilty, and it was written through him. Well, Amedchas, it teaches us a fundamental lesson. That it to teach us that if somebody is meritorious, we teach a meritorious passage in his merit, and if somebody is guilty, we teach a guilty passage in his as a result of him. Meaning to say, one good deed leads to another, one bad deed leads to another. And then the next verse says, I'll command your judges at that time. And then right after that, the verse says, I'll command you at that time. So which is it? Is he commanding the judges? Or is he commanding the people? Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Simlai, Azar Tzibor Shate Amos Dayan Alayan, Azar Dayan Sheyisbol at Tzibor. So it's both. The community is warned that they have to respect the judges, and the judges are warned that they have to have patience for the people. Ad kama. How much patience does the judge have to have for the people? Amar Rabbi Chanan Vitema Rabbi Shabtai Kasher Yisa Omenes Hayonik. Like a nurse carries the suckling. And this is a reference to the pasuk that Moshe Rabbeinu was. It says about Moshe, he said, I carried you like a nurse carries its suckling. Which is ironic because Moshe was complaining at that point that the people don't listen to him. He had reached his patience. Okay. In one verse, Moshe Rabbeinu says, because to Joshua, you will come into the land. And another verse, it says, you will bring into the land. So, really, why is this relevant? Because we're talking about the leadership qualities. And since we just talked about earlier that the leader has to be patient, so now we talk about Joshua's leadership qualities. Gemara is going to understand that one of these verses was said by Moshe Rabbeinu, and the other verse, and this is not automatically apparent from the verse, was said not by Moshe but by God. And this is the conversation. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Moshe, Yoshua. And Moshe said to Yoshua, you and the elders of the generation, will be leading with you. He says to Moshe, Moshe says to Joshua, you're going to have a committee. You're going to have to lead by committee, you with the elders, and that's how you'll make your decisions. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God said to Joshua, Tol Makel v'hachal kad kad kam. Take your stick and smack them on the head. You can only have one leader for our generation. You can't have two. You can't lead by a committee. You can't lead by a committee. I don't recommend, Eric, that at the next Federation board meeting you start off with this. With this Tvar Torah. I don't think. Tana Zimun b'shlosha. It says in the Brisa, Zimun has to be with three. What is Zimun? Ilim abirka Zimun. If you want to say this refers to before you bench, you do a Zimun, and that requires three people. Can't be. Vatanya Zimun ubirka Zimun b'shlosha. It says Zimun and birka Zimun are with three. Chitemi perushi kamefarish. And if you want to say it's just explaining it, it's saying what's Zimun, birka Zimun, can't be. Zimun birka Zimun vatanya Zimun b'shlosha birka Zimun b'shlosha. It says it's two separate things. Now, my Zimun, when it says Zimun is with three, what is that? Azmuni Ladin. This is the summons, Hazmana, to the court. Yad Amarava Hani Beitlata Dayani Diasi Vazo Shlicha de Beidina. Like Rava said, these three judges that they were sitting, and then a agent of the court came, and he said in the name of one, meaning he gives them a summons from one of the judges and not all three. He actually said nothing. Until he says it in the name of all of them. The summons has to be in the name of all three. But Hani Mili below Yoma Dedina, that's where he summons them on an off day, not on the court day. But on a court day, there's no issue. Meaning to say even one judge could summon them. And we said in our Mishnah that Tashlume Kefel, that if you have a theft and then you're caught, you have to pay double. That requires three judges. A kanas, how many judges does it need? What's a kanas? A kanas is where it's not compensatory. It's not the amount. The amount of the fine is not the amount that was owed. It's either more or less. It's called a punitive penalty, punitive damage. So how many judges do you need? So we just said we just said that explicitly, that it's three judges. So why is it saying how many people are needed for kanas? So the Gemara says, he's asking a question about whether or not an expert who's an individual can be the judge for kanas. This individual expert, can he judge the kanas cases or not? We learned this explicitly in the Mishnah. That the double payment or the 4 or 5 time penalty if you steal a sheep or an ox and then slaughter or sell it, you have three judges. Now, if it means just 3 regular judges, even 10 judges, if they're commoners, they can't do knasos. It must be mumchen kamar. The kamar shlosha, it's experts, and it says 3. So you need 3 mumcha. We said a mumcha is somebody who's either an expert or else maybe is the person who was appointed from Moshe Rabbeinu generation after generation via a chain of tradition going back to Moshe. Now the Mishnah said that Motzi Shemra, it said in the Mishnah that the case of Motzi Shemra is 3, but the Chachamim say it's 23 because it leads to Dinei Nefashos. So Motzi Shemra is 3. What's this case of Motzi Shemra, which Rameir says is 3? That Rashi says where he doesn't bring witnesses. He's just saying she's not a virgin. Why would he want to say she wasn't a virgin on the wedding night? Because he doesn't want to pay her the ksuba price for a virgin. The ksuba price, as standard ksuba price for a virgin, is double of a non-virgin. So he wants to say she wasn't a virgin, but I don't have witnesses that she was adulterous. Because if she has witnesses that she was adulterous, then either Rabbi Meir would say clearly it's 23. So that's why the Chachamim say it's 23. Rabbi Meir says it's 3. The Chayesh Bo Dinei Nefashos Mayavi. The Chachamim say it's 23 because there is a capital case there. And the Gemara's assumption at this point is he says because there are some cases in Motzi Shemra where there are capital cases, like where the husband had brought witnesses that she was adulterous. So the Gemara is asking, well, if there was Dinei Nefashos, what's the big deal? Now it's not Dinei Nefashos, so there's no witnesses. So of course it should be 3. And if you say, well, if there will be witnesses, then we'll do 23. So the Gemara is going to give at least 6 answers. I don't know. Today's daf they get through 5. I don't know. I didn't go through tomorrow's daf yet. See exactly how many. The Gemara is going to give many answers to this question. Why did the Chachamim say 23? Because there's Dinei Nefashos, and Meir says 3. So the Gemara says, we're concerned that there will be rumors starting. Meir says, Meir says, we're not concerned that maybe he's going to come to court, and then everybody will hear about it, and the witnesses will come, and they'll testify that she was adulterous. And therefore, since that we should require 23, because maybe the witnesses will come. And so the Chachamim say, no, we're concerned that maybe once they come, the word will get out there, and then the witnesses will come on their own, it'll turn into a capital case. So therefore, you should have 23. The mayor says, that's the first answer. Rava says, no, even the Rabbanan are not concerned about the rumors. That's not our concern. Here our concern is whether or not we have to be concerned about the honor of the first judges. What we're talking about here is going to iknif be'esrin utlato ameidan dina nefashos. Now we're talking about a case where you initially had 23 to do a capital case, ve'ibdor, and then it turns out that he doesn't have witnesses to do a capital case, and so therefore the judges departed, and he says. And so therefore he says, meaning to say, the guy says, I have witnesses that she was adulterous. Turns out he doesn't. And the judges at that point said, all right, we're done. But then the husband said, well, at least judge for me it as a monetary case that we should lower ksuba. The threshold of evidence is less. So the mayor says, yeah, just do 3. And the Rabbanim said, no, you need 23 because we have to be concerned about the honor of the initial ones. And therefore, we don't want to just kick people off the panel, so we need all 23. Gemara challenges Meisvei. Gemara challenges Ula's explanation, which was that we're concerned about rumors. It says that the Chum say there's a brayso that says that if he made a claim for money, it's with 3, and if he made a claim for capital case, it's 23. Now this brayso b'shamol Rava makes sense according to Rava. This works very well with Rava's explanation that if he made a claim for money initially, the rabbis would say 3, and if you made a claim for a capital case initially, then even the monetary case, you do it 23. But according to Ula, who says that the rabbis say you always 23, even if you made the initial claim for money, how would he explain this brayso? So the Gemara says, Amar Rava, Aniva Arisha b'chabura targim. Now I and the lion of the group explained it, and who is the lion of the group? Manu Rav Chia bar Abin. We had this Gemara, the line of the group. We had this several times already. We had it in Shabbos, and we had it several other times. Umanu, who is the lion of the group of Chibra? Say, how come I ask why did the Rabbanan say 23 here? What's this case referring to? Shehevia Baal Edim Shezinta, Vehevia Av Edim, Vezimum Edia Baal. No, we don't have the full context. That the husband brought witnesses that she was adulterous. And then the father brought witnesses, Vezimum Edia Baal. And he said that the witnesses of the husband were corrupt. Now, Baal Gavos Mamon Mi Baal, let's say the father wants to collect money from the husband, Bishlosha. Then he needs 3 judges. Umakam the Fashos, but if the Mishnah was talking about, if it was talking about a case that hold on one second. So if he wants to collect money from the husband, then he needs 3 judges. Umakam the Fashos. But if it was talking about a case where this man claimed she was adulterous and he wants to take away her ksuba, that's from Bishlosha. Then we do 23, even though now it's only Dine Mamanos because we're of the concern that Ua said initially. So that's how the Brisa would be explained according to the Chachamim. If his claim is only for money, that would be 3. But if his claim is about adultery, even though right now he only has a claim for money, we're still going to do 23. That's how Ua would explain it. A third explanation, Abaye Amar Kuya Amar Chashiyon Olaz, Mishum Kvodan Shorashanim. Abaye says, no, everybody, even Rabbi Meir would say we're concerned about the rumors, and even Rabbi Meir would say we're concerned about the honor of the initial people. So why does Rabbi Meir say only 3 here? Achamai Eskinan could go into Ulster based Dam. They just gave him, could go into Ulster based Dam, that they warned the woman. The witnesses said we warned the woman just about death, but we didn't say which type of death. We didn't say that you're going to get skila. So Rameir says since they didn't say which type of death, therefore it's not going to be a capital case. And therefore it's 3. Whereas the Chachamim say 23. Where this position, Tanya, it follows the following position. Tanya, we learned in the Brisa, Sharkol Chayve Misa Shevatorah, you only give the person the death penalty unless you give them a warning that he's liable for death. Whereas Rabbi Yehuda says, you have to say specifically which type of death he's going to fall, which type of death. So Meir says, like Rabbi Yehuda, they have to know exactly which type of death. You have to have the warning for exactly that type of death. Otherwise, it's not liable for death. That's just a monetary case. Rav Papa says, what? They have to be warned for the exact, the same machokas by the malachos on Shabbos. It's the same type of argument. Is it the same Tanayim? We have to look that up. So Rav Papa says, here we're talking about a learned woman who we assume she knows that if she would commit adultery, she would get stoned. And the husband brings witnesses that she was adulterous. And they said they didn't warn her because she doesn't need warning because she knows the law. And it's a different dispute. The time Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda says that she doesn't need warning because she knows the law. And so therefore, that's why it's a case of 23 according to the Chachamim. So the only reason why you need warning is to distinguish between accidental and purposeful. So by the chaver, they can't claim it was an accident. So therefore, they didn't need the asra. And so therefore, Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda says you need 23, and the Chachamim here rule like him, or Rameir rules like the Chachamim there. A 6th approach is Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi says, Kagon, we're talking about a case where the husband wants to divorce without a ksuva. And the husband comes to the court and says he have witnesses that she was adulterous, and the witnesses say the Asr Bey for Malchus. They said we gave her a warning, but only to give her lashes, but not to put her to death. The question is, how many do you need for lashes? Do you need 3 or 23? And that's the dispute here. Okay, we'll stop here. Pick this up tomorrow. It's a shkoyach on today's beautiful daf. I want to say